Adani group of companies could maybe a ticking time bomb for the economy overall.
Will we actually see Adani failing, or are they too big to fail?
Adani has slightly reached this territory of too big to fail.
Any big company can fail. We can't say that no big company will ever fail.
An underworld sort of a thing, which is really bad for our economy. People have their black money lying around, and if they want to gamble, and these are big people having big money, who's stopping them? The real question being, but why is US coming in between?
If it is illegal, don't get into it.
100 lakh crore turnover per day. That's what Dabba Trading is doing right now.
There is no STT. There are no charges.
No one knows who's running this. Jio, Airtel and Vodafone Idea, they have lost subscribers. Is this the comeback of BSNL?
BSNL was the only network who would give you coverage in any part of India. Their friend from US calling Modi and saying that we need Starlink in India.
I'm sure it's huge. It's massive.
This Adani, he doesn't take a break, and controversy finds him somehow.
Yeah.
And today markets are again in a bloodbath only because of Adani. So before we get into that actual interesting stories around Adani, let us first quickly wrap up what happened with Nifty since our last podcast, so that our viewers have some context around that. So there were only 3 active trading sessions that happened because Friday was Guru Nanak Jayanti, and again Wednesday was again a market holiday because of Maharashtra elections. So last Thursday, there was a doji candle that was formed. Nifty was comfortably at 200 DMA.
200 DMA, yeah.
And also it was like kind of a round level support and a ray of hope. And everything got shattered on Monday.
Right, absolutely. 3 red candles after that. The 3 candles we had after the last podcast, all of them being red. And Tuesday, I think, was slightly, as you rightly said, a ray of hope. Nifty trying to move back, trying to maybe show that there is a bounce, which could happen. But then Tuesday itself proving that wrong, and Nifty coming down. And today also what we saw is Nifty closing properly below the 200 days moving average. So yeah, things are not looking that nice in the market.
I mean, Tuesday there was a reason for the V-shaped fall that happened, right? Because there was news that got circulated that US is actually supporting Ukraine in their war, and they actually given a green signal that they can use their weapons. And that's like a huge thing in this war that is happening.
Yeah, every global market fell. I was looking at UK's chart. So UK also started off and started crashing along with us. And then after a few hours after our Indian markets closed, it shot back up. So it was a very tough trading day for traders in India. But I'm assuming it would have been even a crazier trading day for everyone there. Right?
But speaking about traders, I mean, today the ELM increased extreme loss margin finally kicking in as something that we saw. So normally for an option seller who's selling an iron condor, which is a hedged strangle, the margin to sell an iron condor in Nifty was around 35,000 rupees.
Okay.
On expiry day, it's increased to 55,000 rupees. So that's an increase of margin of around 70-80%. I think that's huge. That again is part of SEBI rationalizing option trading in India. A lot less people would be selling options on 0DT expiry day. That's where SEBI in their circular also talked about, right? Crazy option trading by Indians. But yeah.
Did no one see it coming? Like, why did it come all of a sudden, and ELM being such a hot topic on Twitter?
That was very interesting. So to be very honest, so ELM, the margin increase on expiry day, it was expected. When in the SEBI circular also, it was clearly said that it is going to happen. But then a lot of people actually thought that this 2% increase is what SEBI mentioned. So this 2% of the margin is what is going to increase is what people thought. But finally what got increased is 2% of your exposure.
Okay.
That is, if Nifty is at 25,000 into your lot size, which is 25, into 2%, which turned out to be a large number, which a lot of people did not actually.
But now I'm more concerned now that he mentioned lot size. Now lot size is also getting increased.
Correct.
So it would become 75 now.
Yes.
So the overall margin would even further shoot up.
Absolutely, you're very correct. So in January is when that is going to kick in. From January, the lot size of Nifty is going to be 75. So the ELM increase, the margin increase is going to be even bigger from January. So again, this is all part of SEBI rationalizing options trading, SEBI wanting people to trade options less, and we're seeing that's happening. It's becoming a reality.
So this is again a whole very big segment to talk about, and it can get into a lot more depth also.
Right.
But we can have that as a very different segment in another podcast. But for now, to wrap up this segment at least, so we'll see what are the levels that we can watch out on a short-term level and a long-term level, and what can we see Nifty going in the coming weeks. So I think
so 200 EMA is broken. That was the level we were watching out for last week.
Right.
But right now, we are at the peak that was created, the high that was created on the election day or the election week. And I think it's really important. was taken as support multiple times there, and now we are at the exact same level. I think a slight bounce could come. If it's broken, then you can talk about the next levels
But
there.
I
Nihal.
mean, I feel it is only a sell on rise market right now, and even if it takes a bounce, I still feel the markets could further go down till 23,000 as the immediate support, and further down till 22,800, 22,700 levels is what I'm looking in the coming weeks.
Yeah. So 22,800 being a very important support. Then if even that is broken, then a consolidation zone with 22,000 as a low
Absolutely.
is going to be the next.
That is going to be a long
possible
target,
support.
but yeah, for coming weeks, this is what we are looking. Yeah.
24,000 on the upper side could act as a resistance also.
Yeah.
So let's wrap that portion with a ray of hope
Yeah.
that market could move.
Ajay, there's also this interesting data which says that whenever Nifty in the last 30 years has closed below its 200-day moving average, the next 6 months average returns is nearly 8%. The median
Okay.
returns is nearly 6%. I hope you get the point, right?
Yeah, so there is a chance for a bounce from here based on historical data.
Correct. So, so this is all data driven. So a lot of the things that we do with the models that we build at MarketFeed are also all data driven. So a data driven approach says that now that a close has been given below 200-day moving average, this is what we can expect in the market.
Another ray of hope for investors.
Yeah.
Another ray of hope. So let's wrap up the market section with that. And we have 3 interesting stories to discuss. And the first of which we already did give a glimpse on it, the entire Adani issue, and that being really hot, right? So 3 major stories that we want to discuss with all of you viewers here. Thank you all for the amazing comments in episode 1. Yes, we will be continuing this every Friday. You can watch us. And we have also started a clips channel. Make sure you go and subscribe to that as well. I'll put that here in the I button. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcoming all of you to the second episode of the Aftermarket Podcast. My name is Ajay. This is Nihal.
Hello.
And this is Sharik Shamsdin, CEO and co-founder of MarketFeed.
Now that introduction is over and we are actually talking about the interesting stories in the market, what more interesting story can happen other than Adani, allegations and market falling and Adani stocks crashing, right? So today Adani stocks fell more than 20%. Some stocks actually hit even 25% lower circuits, right? So what do you think is even happening? Why are so many allegations are on Adani, and what is the current scenario right now?
So the current entire fall happened only because of one reason. It is a case has been filed in the US courts by a proper US government body saying that Adani has bribed Indian officials for a big solar project.
So this time it is not a private entity, it's like a government itself putting
Exactly.
allegations on Adani.
And
Yes.
US government putting an allegation that Adani bribed Indian officials
Yeah.
for something in India.
For 2,000 crores.
Oh
Okay,
my
and that's the highlight for me.
Right.
It's not the bribery, it's 2,000 crores bribery.
Why are they bribing? What's happening?
So what's happening here is that they want to set up a huge solar project in India, and the revenue or the profit they're projecting here is 16,000 crores over 2 years. Over 20 years, sorry. Yeah, 16,000 crores over 20 years. So for that, setting up and making sure the entire project goes smoothly.
And for that, they are paying 2,000 crore rupees of bribe. And
They
I
don't-
think that's not a bad deal.
That's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
16,000 crores projected profit, 2,000 crore bribe.
But the real question being, but why is US coming in between?
So I'll come to
Yeah.
that. So because the Adani has been trying to do a bond sale to US investors, the Securities and Exchanges Commission, which is SEC, got involved, and they are scrutinizing Adani like crazy. I know a lot of indirect other effects are also there, but primarily because of this bond sale, they are saying that Adani is trying to defraud US investors.
What
So-
is the size of this bond sale that they're trying to do?
So they're trying to do 600 million. So that will be nearly 5,000 crores is what they're trying to sell. In the US, they tried to do double that, I think 2 months ago, but now they're doing 5,000 crores.
Yeah, I think earlier also they did a $750 million some bond sale earlier.
Few years ago, I
few
think.
years ago, and they had some issues there as well, or some issue around that.
So at that time, the issue was being discussed, but SEC noted that it had some concerns, but then nothing went through. I think there is a huge impact of Hindenburg. We can't deny it. There is a huge impact of Hindenburg. Why SEC is being pushed to pursue Adani so strictly and monitor them so closely. They've actually caught SMS records of them bribing and planning to bribe officials. Guys, this is serious.
So actually, this has to be pointed out. It is planning to bribe. I mean, still, nobody knows that actual bribe has passed or happened. The transaction happened. It is still a kind of a speculation or
No, still illegal. Planning to bribe is also illegal, and they have done that.
No, but what baffles me, I was just pulling up this data, and what baffles me is how Adani does not stop to amaze us with all these allegations and bribes and scams and whatnot. Right from their existence or them coming into limelight from 1990s, 2000s, there was this diamond trading allegation in the early 2000s. Then in mid 2000s, they had some land acquisition problems when they were trying to set up ports is something which is coming up here. 2010 is when the famous Australia, they were setting up these coal mines in Australia, and huge environmental concerns there. People were protesting.
That was 2010.
That was 2010, and this is an unending list. I don't think there is any merit in going into this. We should probably put this down in the description. But the point being, they have never stopped to be in the spotlight for doing the bad stuff. And again, the recent stuff like Hindenburg problems in 2023 and whatnot. So this is nothing new to them, is something that I really would love to point out.
But again, when some allegations is put out, people get worried because Adani stock will crash, and then that will have some reflection on Nifty.
Right.
And people, as an investor, people are panicked in both ways. As a Adani stock investors, people are worried, and also as a Nifty or Indian market investors, they are also panicked.
So that's a very interesting thing, right? So this is something that some data crunching I did last time when Adani fell. Remember last time when the Hindenburg issue happened, Adani I think fell 75%.
75%.
So that is the time again when I went back and did some data crunching to make sure, to understand what is the impact of Adani on Nifty. So actually we have Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports in Nifty, and actually their contribution to Nifty, the weightage in Nifty is only 3%.
Okay. So that means even if Nifty or even if Adani stocks crash to zero, Nifty will fall by only 3%.
Only 3%.
Okay.
So that narrative of Adani having a huge impact on Nifty from a pure understanding of its weightage in Nifty is very less. It's only 3%. But the other problem is when Adani does bad, all the banks and the related industries around Adani will also do bad. So it's a known thing that SBI has a lot of loans to Adani. Even today, when Adani fell 20-25%, we can see SBI is down by what? 2-3%, which is not bad, right? I mean, which is considerable. So point being, when Adani falls, there is a chance that SBI and some other large companies can also fall. And that is where, even though the weightage in Nifty is only 3%, but the impact could be slightly higher than that.
So I think this was the concern that was raised in 2020, I guess. So when people started concerns about Adani taking too much of debt to grow their business in multifold, and when they foresee something and that not being happen, they won't be making money and they can't pay banks and banks can't recover something. Correct. And that's like a butterfly effect, and everything starts collapsing, and that will have a larger impact on India's economy.
Yeah, that's why it is said, even I said it in a video before, that Adani group of companies could maybe a ticking time bomb for the economy overall. You rightly said, Adani failing is not just Adani failing. It's the entire Indian economy could have some impact of that. Yeah.
And the chain of reactions, that is the speculative side of it, that what happens if Adani fails, PSU banks fail, and that all of that side. But I think the question also comes down to, will Adani actually fail? Because now what we are seeing is that a lot of brokerage agencies, they're saying Adani is too risky and the bank should increase their interest rate and the lending rates to Adani. So when that happens, they can't grow any further and they'll find it harder and harder to utilize their working capital or get working capital for them. So then will we actually see Adani failing, or are they too big to fail? What do you guys think?
I mean, there have been some interesting stories. There were companies that had bad, problems with them, or being in allegations or being in this spot where Adani is right now. I think every other company, even it could be Reliance or Tata's, or all of them floated through their ups and downs in difficult times. So I feel Adani is big enough. Any big company can fail. We can't say that no big company will ever fail and we can trust them and they'll keep growing. But there will be entities, there will be governments backing very big companies. If they feel that if they fall, whole economy will fall, then they'll try to support that. Just what we've tried seeing in V story, right? So if they are collapsing, government chipping in and helping that. So all of those things can happen is what I believe.
I think Adani has slightly reached this territory of too big to fail, right? I mean, we saw what Modi tweeted and Trump tweeted when Trump came into power. So they're bros, they're friends now. So when the US is moving against Adani, who knows? Modi would have already made the call to protect or save Adani. So after a point, I think there is companies become too big to fail. Institutions become too big to fail. Like we saw, discussed, the ripple effect of Adani failing is not just Adani failing. So because of all of those things, I mean, government, people with vested interest, all of those could come in to save the company.
But again, here, the new bond that was issued was for Adani Green. And we all know that Trump is not a for the green energy or that side. So what do you think now?
That's fine.
Anything for us, bro.
Friends are friends, and I think
he wouldn't bring in philosophical ideologies when a friend calls and says, "Hey, save me."
So it's like I mean, it's already very clear that there are certain favorable candidates or favorable political parties behind Adani. Not getting more into that. So I think they'll easily be able to pull it off. But the question I think boils down to, when will they become too hot that even the Prime Minister or any political party or even their partners, banks, when will they start saying, okay, this is too hot, we have to stop dealing with them now? And that's where I think that point comes in.
So that's where I also think, like, who hasn't gotten hot enough, right? Like, if you think about the Reliances of the world or Tatas of the world, I'm sure they've had also their dark past or histories or allegations and scams around them as well. Like, do you have anything to add there?
So I wanted to keep it very surface level here. So even as you said, Reliance, they've had a lot of allegations against them. Dhirubhai Ambani, even have you seen that movie? Guru. Guru, where he imports things and without paying import duty or letting the government know. He imports all of that, right? And it's part of the real life story of Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. And even Tatas have a lot of allegations against them. The Tata tea scandal and the shooting inside a Tata steel factory scandal. So all of these are very serious, and you're right, I think. Whenever you're looking at any of the corporates in India, the history has been whitewashed. Volkswagen used to be a company that used to manufacture cars for Hitler. If you do the Volkswagen logo and you turn it fast enough, it becomes a swastika. Have you seen that?
Okay, crazy.
So Hitler was a person who asked Volkswagen to build the Beetle because he wanted it to be a people's car, people's wagon. Hitler's company there. Even BMW, Benz, all of them having real ties to the Nazi regime. Does anyone remember it now? It's corporate whitewashing, and as you said, a few years, not even few years, maybe 50 years from now, nobody might even remember any of these scandals.
Like the Reliance of today, maybe, right? I mean, Adani might become an amazing, good institution, a company in India where people respect it, people conveniently forget whatever has happened in the past.
And celebrate it, maybe. Today, it looks so not possible today, but I'm sure if things fall in the right place, there is a future 50 years later where Adani also will successfully manage this PR nightmare that they're having. They'll solve all of these problems. There is a future there.
So I'm hearing a lot of arguments from you guys, but still there is a lot of mutual fund exposure into just Adani stocks, and there are investors who are panicking on that side, and there are also individual investors who are actually seeing this dip as an opportunity, because we've seen Adani falling 75% in 2022, then it bouncing back again 250%, and now it is again down 40%. So actually now people or investors who are interested in Adani are asking this question: okay, should we invest in mutual funds which have higher exposure of Adani? Is it safe? And individual investors who want to invest in Adani, what do you say?
No, so my personal take has always been to stay away from a company which is doing a lot of shady stuff. But I'm rethinking about the entire thing given our discussion around who is not doing shady stuff or who has not done shady stuff. So still keeping that, I've never actively directly invested into any Adani stocks. And I remember back in the days 2020, I used to do, like when I used to do active videos, I have done videos around Adani, and I used to get a lot of questions during my live sessions or in the comment section asking about should we invest into Adani companies. Adani Green very specifically back in the days used to hit upper circuits almost every single day. So my answer has always been, let's stay away from shady stuff. If we know it's shady, why to make money there by doing that? Because rather than making money, how you make money, I think is very, very important. So that's something that I've always talked about. And also I've always seen this great trading opportunities in Adani, like you rightly said, right? It fell 75%, but in the next 1 year or so, it is back up by 100, 200%. So these are great trading opportunities. And PR Sundar has this like very famous video on how he bought S-Class by trading Maybach only by trading Adani options. So interesting stories there. But yeah, personally, I've always stayed away. But moving on to mutual fund part of it, right? I know I have invested into multiple mutual funds. Who has Adani holdings? Yeah.
So even when you say you're not interested in Adani stocks, just take Quant's example. Nearly 10% of their asset is being put into Adani stocks today, or even higher. We don't know the exact latest number as of November 21st, right? So I think we'll all feel that pinch, but it might not be as much as we think. It will be manageable. People sitting there, they know what they're doing. But we can't fully say that, hey, we won't invest into Adani when all the mutual funds are doing it for us. Even if you put into a Nifty 50 fund, your fund is going
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And the stock is getting pumped up by all the
we're speaking about two of the largest companies in India. I mean, given that they are in Nifty 50, they have given phenomenal returns to its investors. So I think that's what matters at the end of the day.
Passively, we can't stay away from it. That's the point that I'm trying to say. Correct. Even if you invest in a junior 50, Nifty 50, you'll end up investing into Adani. Actively, do you want to stay away from it? Again, my opinion would also be similar. I would say we can all choose to conveniently ignore Adani at this time period.
So given all this, Nihal, what do you think? What is exactly happening to Adani and what should investors of Adani do?
So to summarize all of this, I would say recently all the allegations that went on Adani were from private entities or some other non-legit resources. But this time it is actually coming from a legit source, SEC, coming from government. So these allegations can't be taken light. So I would still stay cautious there. But again, as a trader, if I'm interested and want to capture those moves, probably I would allocate 1 or 2% of my portfolio. I'll take a small hit there and probably
Party
funds and probably I would invest there. But as a long term, like you said, some whitewashing can happen or the stock can do well, but I would wait time to tell that if that works out well.
Okay, so that's where I think I'll take it to story number 2. So if you have noticed the Bank Nifty effect, the Bank Nifty 0 DTE trades going away and even Bank Nifty weekly options going away, that's all starting from this week. And we also talked about the extreme loss margin that Sharik started with, right? So during all of this, we have seen the re-emergence of something called as Dabba Trading. So it was very popular in the 90s and 2000s. Now it's back in the news again. So if you can try to imagine what is a FNO turnover in India, Dabba Trading is doing 20% of that today.
Yeah, that's
so
huge.
How much of that value would be?
100 lakh crore turnover per day. That's what Dabba Trading is doing right now. But I want to know more about it. It's very curious. So I really want to know, what is this Dabba Trading? What the hell is this Dabba Trading?
No, so it's very simple. We understand what a normal exchange is, right? Like our NSE, it's a normal exchange. An exchange is a place which facilitates transactions or trades of equities and other securities. So Dabba Trading is nothing but it's again like an exchange, but it is not regulated. It is run by some random guy sitting somewhere. Anybody can go there, even give your black money and still get to trade securities. You can buy and sell stuff with black money, with a lot of leverage, with no brokerage, with no charges. So it's a very shady, it's an illegal, randomly operated, something happening somewhere, something like a, what do you say? This kind of sports betting which happen, which are again illegal and shady, something very similar as what Dabba Trading is. So again, these are very popular in North India, especially in Gujarat, Maharashtra, places like that. Those places we see these to be very popular. Again, not really a new concept. This has been there for a very long period of time. But like you rightly said, now that SEBI is trying to rationalize options, more people are getting out of the legit trading and they're going into Dabba Trading. That's where they're coming into news now.
So when you said buying and selling, it is not the actual transaction of shares that is happening. So it is like, will Reliance move up or down? Or will Adani stock move up or down? So they are betting on the price movement, but there is no actual physical settlement.
There is no shares at all. All of those happen in the real exchange and this is a fake exchange and nothing really is happening there. People are basically only speculating or betting.
It is very obvious for people to show interest in Dabba Trading now, right? ELM has introduced. Now SEBI is putting so much restrictions, and I mean even saying the 5 CR portfolio, then only option trading or derivative allowance would be given out, and then lot size increasing, margins increasing. Too much of regulations and too many rules in a regulated space would push people away from the regular market.
That's true. So SEBI is pushing people out of legit FNO trading and they have nowhere else to go. That's why they are going here. But at the same time, SEBI is wearing a different mask and going out and warning people about Dabba Trading. And that's very real, right? SEBI is very vocal about Dabba Trading. They know it's happening and they've constantly been talking about why people should not go to Dabba Trading, how illegal it is. And there's even regulation which is penalizing people who are running Dabba Trading. There is a 25 crore rupees of penalty on whoever is operating and running Dabba Trading.
And 10 years imprisonment.
Imprisonment as well. So it's clearly not legit is something that we can understand.
So I am still trying to understand. People know it's illegal, right? SEBI has made it clear. It's even they are not too they're not trying to hide that they're illegal or anything. So what are the highlights? Why are people really interested? Is it just the FNO part? Is there any other highlights why people are moving to Dabba Trading world?
So one is low entry barrier.
Exactly.
So it's like even if you have a very small quantity, people can actually use Dabba Trading to trade there, and which is very shady. Again, there are risks involved in that, which we'll talk about it. But the entry barrier being very less is what attracting a lot of traders to go into it. And like what you said, there is no STT, there are no charges, there is no income tax, there is nothing, and everything is off the records. So the very big real estate market people or the black money or hawala money, everything is circulated there. So that is what and there is also one pinch, I would say. Somebody who sees something very interesting happening, they don't care if it is legal or not. They want to experience it or just see it or try it, that urge to do something different is what even again pushing people into that.
So it's like real gambling, right? So people have their black money lying around, and if they want to gamble, and these are big people having big money, who's stopping them? Why can't they do it? And these are the same kind of people who are doing sports betting as well. We've seen scandals and stuff around sport fixing during IPL and stuff like that. And I don't think we have records regarding how much money is being flown in the sports betting industry. I'm sure it's huge. It's massive. So like that, it's the same set of audience. Again, that audience plus these people who are getting pushed out of legit FNO trading, all of these going, and this, as you rightly said, low entry barrier, no taxation, and the usage of black money, again, everything luring people into this is what we can understand.
So I understand, okay, that's why people are interested. And on the other side, I also get that when you're looking into Dabba Trading, it's very dangerous because these exchanges are not real. They can run away with your money at any time.
It's very interesting to see that all these, not all these, a lot of these Dabba Trading platforms, they have real websites and Android app and Apple app. Everything's available. I mean, I don't really want to promote this here. People, if they go and Google, they might really find out a Dabba Trading app available today. So it's very interesting to see that they are operating in the limelight. They're just a Google search away. You can go create an account and start doing Dabba Trading. But the real risk being, as you rightly said, no one knows who's running this, and SEBI is not regulating this as well. So normally, if you're investing, say, into a mutual fund, or you're using a broker who's again SEBI regulated, any bad thing which could happen, SEBI is there to protect you. So there's grievance redressal mechanism by SEBI and all of those things in place. So anything bad happens, you can go to SEBI and SEBI will sort it out for you. Likewise, anything happens in the banking scene, you can go to RBI and RBI will protect you. So none of those protection is there when it comes to Dabba Trading. You put your money there, you give your money there to trade, and they run away with it. What will you even do?
And again, even before, people who are listening to this conversation or even wanting to try it out, because there was a game that came out, Blue Whale, which was very risky, but just people wanted to try it out and they went there. But that is not the case here. Just like how Sharik mentioned, how betting apps are, or fantasy gaming betting apps run. This is not very similar to that. There are a lot of complexities on how the actual betting works here, because it is just not very straight and simple that, okay, let's say people are betting on NIFTY. So if let's say NIFTY is on 23,500 right now, it is not as simple as NIFTY will go up or down. So there are so many nuances, so many sub clauses that, okay, NIFTY has made a day high at certain level, then that day high has to cross in this certain time frame. There are so many rules that they form by themselves and make it really complicated for a person to even win there.
So who makes these rules?
These Dabba Trading companies.
Okay, so they make the rules.
Absolutely.
They set the odds and they are betting against the retailers.
Yeah, and they have to set the odds in such a way that they would eventually make money, right? So that's the entire world. So it's like running a casino, running a gambling place which can lure people in, which will give an impression to people that, hey, it's a very interesting place to go, let's try out or try our fortune, make a fortune by betting money. But then eventually these Dabba Trading apps, just like a casino, want these people to lose money and them eventually making money.
Just for easier explanation, people can relate to how this betting works. It is like, let us say there is an IPL game happening and let's say RCB is playing. So it is like Virat Kohli will come as a 3-down player will play for 7 overs and will hit, let's say, 50 runs in a certain balls, and then RCB will win or lose. So there are so many things that have to be checked for you to make money.
Right. So as we rightly said, so the odds are set in their favor is what we can understand.
So then what I really want to understand, we understood Dabba Trading is a very illegal place to be. People willingly go there and they willingly lose money. I don't know why. And it's a very shady world. That also I understand. But I'm trying to see why SEBI is not going down on them very more seriously. And is there a real long-term impact on the entire economy that we are not foreseeing now?
No, I think SEBI is taking this seriously, and I hope SEBI is doing a lot of these things to curb these activities as well. But at the same time, you have to understand that once you put a tax on something, there will be a black market for it, right?
Okay.
So a very good easy analogy would be, say, if you increase the tax on, say, cigarettes or alcohol for that matter, what would happen? The black market for alcohol would increase. People would start probably brewing at home and selling it to friends and families or whoever around. So all of those things would happen. So SEBI, so I can empathize with SEBI to some extent, because what can they do? So what they can do is they can create a regulated world and make sure that everything in the regulated world is the best or near best. So that's why I think they're trying to rationalize options trading, reduce the number of people who are trading options, because data is clearly saying that nearly 1 crore people are trading options in India. 93% of them are losing money, and 50,000 crore of rupees is the money being lost. And this, they cannot let it happen in a regulated way. So in the regulated world, they are making changes so that whatever bad is happening in the regulated world will not be happening again. But then there will be collateral damage, which is what is happening with Dabba Trading, people going out and creating a black market of sorts, which is just a collateral damage. I don't think SEBI can do anything different in the regulated world. But now that they have done that, I think they should double down on their activities to spot and understand who is doing Dabba Trading and all the bad things related to that, and shut them down if even possible. Yeah.
So keeping the taxes low means that you're promoting these things that you don't want to promote, these sin products.
Yeah.
And keeping it too high means that you create a black market. There's maybe a middle ground that we don't know where it exists. So there's no point in trying to optimize it today. But I think we just have to solve for both.
Right. But again, because you asked about the impact of Dabba Trading, right? So one big point is the usage of black money. And we know the usage of black money is never ever good for any country's economy. And we all remember what happened with demonetization and how really our government wanted to kill the usage of black money. So once this increases, once Dabba Trading increases, the usage of black money increases, and it could go in any tangents, right? It could even fund terrorism and whatnot. So that is definitely not good for the economy. So one thing I would really love to ask, if the FNO traders are getting out and are even considering Dabba Trading, there isn't anything to even consider. It is illegal.
Yeah.
Right? There is nothing to consider. It is illegal, and whatever you do there, it is an unregulated bad space. One is you will lose money. That anyways is bad for anybody.
Illegal and dangerous.
Yeah. So one is these people who are taking part in Dabba Trading, the chance for them to lose money is high.
Okay.
Plus, this is actually seeding a world, an underworld sort of a thing, which is really bad for our economy. So you're not only harming yourself, you're harming your country, your economy, people around you. So absolutely a no-no for Dabba Trading is what I'll say.
One straight, simple answer is, if it is illegal, don't get into it. Straight.
Exactly right. I mean, I feel there's nothing to even discuss here. If it is illegal, it is illegal. No one should even be getting into it. It causes harms in a lot of different ways that people can't even think about. So that's exactly about that.
Even to the audience, please don't get into it. I know us discussing also, maybe they'll be seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, they would feel like going to Google and searching and seeing what are these platforms offering.
But please don't get into it.
Right. So now, since we are done with the story, I think we should move on to story number 3, where I have some real interesting data coming from the telecom companies. And these are favorite stocks of people, right? Like your Jio and Airtel and Vodafone Idea.
Vodafone, which is at 7 rupees right now.
A penny stock which could make you billions. But anyway, so interesting data coming in from these companies. So like every month, these companies put out data saying how many subscribers they either gained or lost in a month. And it's very interesting, right? Back in our stock market show days also, we used to do this. Because these kind of tell the story about what's happening to these companies. Are they gaining in market share? Are they losing customers? Depending on which, the stock price would also have an impact, right? So September and August data is something that we have, and these 2 months of data have something very, very interesting in that. So your Jio, Airtel and Vodafone Idea, they have lost subscribers and lost a lot of subscribers. Jio alone lost 80 lakh subscribers in September. Think
In a
about
month?
it. In a month.
80 lakh.
80 lakh. So,
Oh.
tens of lakhs of subscribers going away from these 3 main players and
Who is the underdog?
BSNL is
Oh.
gaining subscribers is what we can see.
BSNL.
25 lakh subscribers is what they gained in August. So something crazy is happening there is what we can see. So the point being, so people are now speculating, thinking, hey, is this the comeback of BSNL? Are they going to come back with a lot of strength, and maybe are they even going to merge with Vodafone Idea? Those were being discussed. So is that an interesting thing? Will Airtel and Reliance stock price get hit? And all of those are being discussed. So I think we should definitely discuss this here.
So-
And my first point being, like, why is this even happening? What's happening, right? Why is BSNL getting subscribers now?
One very straight logical answer that comes to my head is pricing, right? So if you see Jio or Airtel or even V for that matter, everybody is charging some 800 to 850 rupees for 3 months plan. And BSNL is actually charging somewhere around 400. So it makes no brainer for them to move to BSNL is what I believe.
So it was a golden period for all of these private players. They could increase prices how much ever they wanted. People were still paying for it. And I think they went a bit out of line here. I mean, the ARPU numbers, the average revenue per user numbers, it's not growing as usual. And people not willing to pay that money and porting out of these private players.
No, I understand that they are undercutting on price. The price offered by BSNL for data is much lesser than what private players are doing. But at the same time, BSNL does not have 5G or even 4G in like smaller places, right? Then what's happening there?
So it's just the pricing thing. People feeling the pinch, maybe the economy not doing well, especially in the rural side. And also the ease with which you can port your mobile number right now. Mobile number portability is what helped Reliance Jio and Airtel grow in 2016. I mean, it completely killed off BSNL as well as Idea. Now that causing harm to the companies that got built using MNP.
I mean, even when we talk about the pricing and all, right? Just remember 5 years ago how much you used to spend on your monthly mobile recharge.
Maybe 100, 200 rupees?
I will ask you, Ajay, what would you?
Yeah, a few hundred, low hundred numbers
Okay.
per month.
Now, what is your average? So now 850 rupees. So it is again coming down to somewhere around 300 rupees a
Yeah,
month.
300
Now-
rupees a month is what I think average everyone's paying. Yeah.
So now you are paying 3x.
Yeah.
And people in the rural areas are not appreciating that. So when they actually look at the advantages or the benefits these companies provide, let's say unlimited data or unlimited something, but you see that older people have two mobiles or 3 mobiles, and one they use it for data or something or streaming services, and they have a Wi-Fi. And now they have another phone which they can't recharge with a very minimal amount or something. And these duopolies where Jio or Airtel, they have increased the prices by a lot. So I think that is the reason for most of the users are actually now porting to BSNL only for that reason.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point, right? The minimum recharge itself for your Jio or an Airtel is this 200, 300 rupees per month. And if for your secondary phone or a tertiary phone or the numbers in your office or people in your office and all, if you really don't want so much of data, and if no minimum recharge below 300 is available, and if BSNL is offering that, I think that could really help. But again, what I'm wondering is, like, over the last 2, 3, 4 years, what was happening to BSNL? What really happened to them? Why did they lose the race? Why did they not compete with the private players?
Jio coming in, bad financing, bad, lot of huge losses, and obviously bad business practices. Even in 2024, they don't have 4G. They're planning to roll out 4G and 5G in 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
the company was, I would say, completely down in the dumps there.
But again, Jio is already testing 6G, and their in their actual website there is a banner 6G coming out soon, rolling out soon, and everything.
And BSNL has a banner saying, hey, we are rolling 5G in June 2025.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
there's that very interesting or viral video that went out on LinkedIn. The BSNL employees unboxing 5G ready SIM.
5G ready SIM.
5G ready.
It's 5G is not available now. It's just ready. Yeah.
Every other player has 5G right now, but
Yeah.
they were opening. I mean, but that was very heartwarming to see at the same time. A group of people just sitting there, opening a box and saying, "Hey, this is BSNL PJ," right? And that was actually very heartwarming.
No,
for
so
me.
definitely a lot of emotions attached to BSNL. I hope that was one of the first SIMs for a lot of people, even who are listening as well. So, and back in the days, they had the largest coverage in the country. So definitely, so they were definitely the largest players, but lost the race for all the right reasons you said.
They were not even looking at the commercials, right? So they're a public sector company. They're backed by the central government. They went and put towers where no other private company would.
Yeah.
Even in
because
the small...
they would think for the people, because they are not just operating for profits, they would think for the welfare of the people as well. So that was definitely there.
So I'm sure a lot of Indians for the very first time place a call, even because of BSNL's mentality that everyone should have equal opportunity or equal access to at least landline and even mobile network connectivity.
Yeah. Back in the days, I remember when I used to go to hill stations with my family and all.
Yeah.
I remember my father telling that only BSNL has network and stuff like that.
Same.
BSNL was the only network who would give you coverage in any part of India.
Exactly.
And like what Jio is doing right now, BSNL was a pioneer at that point. And I just hope that, these people, now they are adding lot of customers onto their base. I just hope that they roll out 5G and 6G also and compete with the competition and break this duopoly. And I think that is what even BSNL is trying to do with the stake in V and, maybe a merger that is happening, or any thoughts there?
Yeah, exactly right. So given all this slight comeback of a BSNL of sorts, what could exactly happen from here? Should Jio and Airtel be worried that the original king OG is coming back?
Yeah.
So when Charik actually put this title in the doc, I was actually very curious, hey, is this even happening? And then we do our own research, right? So I went and watched 2 YouTube videos, one by Gyan Tech and the other by TechWiser. So these two had the same thumbnail, BSNL making a comeback. Watch this video. And when I watched it, it's very interesting. They get to the same conclusion saying BSNL's internet is still shitty. The speeds, call connection is still shitty. I mean, my dad still has a BSNL connection along with his Jio connection just for the sentimental value. And I never get him on the phone. It's always out of coverage. It's calls get dropped. So it's the same thing that came out to me actually. Today, it's still nowhere. 4G is not there, connectivity, speed, everything, it's still below private players. Maybe the players going out are the low quality users who are just porting back to BSNL for the reduced prices. I don't think that's a problem right now. But 2 years, 3 years, 4 years into the future, if BSNL fixes all of the shit there in today, maybe there can be a serious competition.
They'll have to play a huge catch-up game. They'll have to innovate. They'll have to move fast. Like when you mentioned that Jio is planning to go to 6G and whatnot. So BSNL will have to move, I don't know, double or triple faster than what they are doing today, or what even their competitors are doing to even play the catch-up game and maybe get some share of the market.
So can we say, if BSNL catches up and if BSNL also rolls out 6G along with Jio and Airtel, do you think Jio's and Airtel revenue will take a hit?
So that's where I like to add this, right? More than revenue, I was just looking this and I see that Jio alone is making 20,000 crore rupees in profit a year. And Airtel is also not bad at all. They are also making nearly 17,000 crore rupees profit a year.
So they have lot of cash in their hand.
Absolutely, lot of cash in their hand. They're, I don't know, like it's more like a duopoly sort of a situation where they're ruling the market. So even in a very remote case, if BSNL is going to come back, maybe even merge with Vodafone Idea, then make a comeback, do the catch up, and then maybe become a good enough worthy competitor to these two big players, what would happen? Maybe a Jio's and an Airtel's profit margins could come down. That's it. These companies are here to stay. They are doing really well. They are innovating. They are changing the landscape in India. So they'll continue doing good. Their profits would only increase. Maybe the profit percentage might reduce. But again, it's all good for the ecosystem is what I believe.
One point to note there. As we said with the very first story, Adani and PM Modi. Okay, that's like a very open relationship there, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, I'm sure the ruling party has some favors to pull from Reliance also there. And BSNL's inaction over all of these years, actually, the timing was too perfect with Reliance Jio's upcoming and the launch of Jio in 2016 and 15. So I think there is that argument there as well. Will there even be a comeback? Does the government even want to put in a lot of money? Right? They have to invest thousands and 10,000s of crores to grow BSNL from here. They have to invest a lot. And for that, they also need that intent, right? They might have the money. Do they have the intent? I'm really questioning that situation here right now.
To break the duopoly, at least government has to step in and do something. But again, when we talk about these relations, right? Modi, Adani, or even, let's say all of these relations, that is where I'm like curious, what if, because of that relationship, and Modi calling their friend or their friend from US calling Modi and saying that we need Starlink in India.
Oh, even those are things which can happen.
Yeah.
And we are speaking about BSNL not even able to catch up to 4G.
Yeah.
And when technologies like Starlink and stuff are going to come in, I think my bet wouldn't be on it, BSNL. Yeah.
And in the current situation, if you have seen what's happening, so Elon Musk is pressurizing Indian government to give a nominee-based system, right? They want the government to choose who will get the wireless internet access. That's like Starlink or its competitors sort of technology access, because they kind of know that it will be allotted to Starlink today. And Mukesh Ambani wants to go the auction route. So this is big news that war is happening. The government is today, they're actually trying to favor Elon Musk, which is very surprising to me.
So for investors right now who are like looking at V stock, probably the hope of becoming it a multi-bagger and a turnaround story is still kind of dicey, and people still have to wait for very long. So maybe people who are actively seeing that it's like 7-8 rupees stock, I'll invest, maybe it's a bad idea even today.
It has fell 50-60% already, I think, this last 1 year. And the only good thing and the only point of discussion there is the government holds 32% stake in VI. And people are saying that, hey, will this end up with a government merging VI and BSNL? And is there a possible future for the company in that way? That's the only argument I think VI has today. Otherwise, they're making tens of thousands of crores losses. Whatever Reliance Jio is making as profits, I think every year consistently they're making as losses.
Yeah.
I think.
So anyways, to conclude the story, what we can understand is that whatever we are seeing is very interesting.
Yeah.
One is from a data perspective, it's definitely interesting. From an emotional standpoint also, I like what's happening to BSNL, but the story of them coming back and completely changing the scene and all sounds to be a very less probable outcome. But let's see if it's playing out. It's going to be a real good scene to watch from the outside at least. Yeah.
So I think it's still a pipe dream. And just like the Adani story, there's a lot of nuances here.
Yeah, a lot of money, lot of motivation, lot of other things to fall at the right place at the right time for BSNL to work out.
So talking about the right place at the right time, I think it's time to wrap up this episode. And again, last week's comments were really supportive. You really liked the discussions that we had. So we would love for you to comment down even under this episode what you think of each of the topics that we discuss here today.
Yeah.
We have put in a lot of time and effort researching and coming up with a lot of good discussion points, I believe, and arguments here that are mainly intended at giving value as well as entertainment to all of you. So that's it, wrapping up the second ever episode of the Aftermarket Podcast. Yes, this is the entire Market Feed team signing off. See you all. Bye-bye.
Before you leave, don't forget to check out our Clips channel.